Hey guys, what is going on? I hope you all are doing well today. Elliot here, welcome back to The Fragrance Well. For today's video, we're gonna focus on some autumn fragrances, of course. We're in the autumn season, that's what we're talking about. But we're gonna focus on fresh autumn fragrances. In a way, you could basically say that these fragrances are great for like that early fall season, especially in areas like where I am, where it can still get not just warm during the middle of the day, but really, really warm. So maybe you still don't mind having a fragrance that has a fresh element to it. And as the sun goes down, or if you just wear it later in the day where it's not as warm, it still can work as a nice autumn centered fragrance. Obviously, this goes without saying, you can wear whatever fragrance you want at any time you want. When we talk about seasonality in fragrances, it's just suggestions, and there is a little bit of a reasoning as to why we say a certain fragrance matches with a certain season, and it just kind of has to do with how the notes kind of blend with the air, if you will. So we got fresh autumn fragrances. I have got 10 of them here today, so let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Before we do, as always, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you do like this content, and please hit that bell icon, enable notifications so you can be notified when I upload new videos. Let's get into it. All right, so to kick it off, we're gonna start with one from Creed, and that is going to be Aventus. Creed Aventus. Now, there's actually probably a lot of fragrances from Creed that can go onto a list like this, but let's just go with Aventus because to many people, they would kind of consider the Aventus DNA overall, really a transitional season scent DNA because it has fresh aspects, fruity aspects, as well as woody aspects. And I'm not gonna get into the whole batch code thing. The later batches, if you will, are a lot more consistent than those older ones. So we'll just call it fresh, fruity, and woody overall. But anyway, while it is certainly a scent that people just wear year round because it's just that good, I would say it does kind of fall into that early fall, late spring kind of seasonality, if you will, with the freshness that this has. We got the bergamot, we got the pineapple accord, you've got the black currant, and you've got the smoky wood aspect, kind of a birch wood aspect, some ambergris as well. And this fragrance here, yes, it can work at any time, but it definitely works exceptionally well, in my opinion, in this early fall season with that fresh aspect of it. And then you got the smoky woodiness that kind of carries you into the later evening, if you will, when it's maybe not quite as hot. So once again, from Creed, this is Aventus. All right, next one is coming from Wilhelm Parfumerie, and we've got Morning Chess. Wilhelm Parfumerie Morning Chess. Yes, many might know that this one is definitely an inspired by Creed fragrance, but really the only aspect I think it shares is the citrus element, the bergamot element, the kind of tangy, fresh citrus element. That's really the only thing it shares. Otherwise, this fragrance is a green leather fragrance, and that's why I say it's perfect for a list like this. Fresh fragrance overall, but definitely can work in some slightly cooler temperatures with that leather and that galbanum, which is giving that kind of bitter, tangy green element to this scent. And it's also, you could say it's leathery and slightly woody, slightly kind of non-sweet, ambery element as far as the dry down goes. But yeah, this is a perfect fragrance for this time of year if you're gonna place it into a smaller box. This is another one though, to be honest, you can wear at any time. Matter of fact, in my opinion, a lot of transitional season fragrances really can be worn year round because they, kind of blend the mold, if you will, between the hot season and the cold season. But yes, this is a great one if you want something slightly Aventus-y like, but leaning in a different direction, and you will get that with this one, with that leathery aspect that this fragrance has. So once again, from Wilhelm Parfumerie, this is Morning Chess. All right, next one is coming from Goldfield and Banks, and this is gonna be Purple Suede. Goldfield and Banks, Purple Suede. Special shout out to this fragrance because this is the fragrance that I wore recently that inspired this video idea. So this one here is what I like to call a blueberry lavender scent, just because the lavender in this is a little bit fruity, kind of smells like an artificial blueberry kind of smell, if you will. And of course, with the Suede name, it is definitely leathery. Does have some kind of funky, woody aspects to add a little bit more grit, but they're definitely way in the background. It's kind of one of those things you would smell from the fragrance if you spray it on really heavily and then, you know, do this, you know, bring your arm or whatever you spray it like right up to your nose. In the air, it's much more balanced. But yeah, there is just enough freshness in this one to make it good for hot weather if it's not like scorchingly hot or like 100% humidity. That's why I say a good fresh fall fragrance, good for this early fall transitional period, if you will. And then that suede and the woody characteristics that this fragrance has definitely make it good enough to, you know, really smell really nice in some cooler temperatures. And even though the lavender in this definitely has a different aromatic characteristic to it, there's just enough freshness to make this one work for a list like this. As I said, it did inspire this video idea, but as I'm kind of looking at my other fragrance, this one actually does have the least amount of freshness, but it still can work. Once again, from Goldfield and Banks, this is Purple Suede. All right, next one coming from Xerjoff. This is gonna be Uden Overdose. Xerjoff Uden Overdose. You know, I typically talk about this fragrance in the springtime just because I think from a attitude standpoint, fits a little bit better with the spring season, with the floral aspect that this fragrance has, but this is a great fall scent as well. Perfect for this early fall season because this one does mix fresh notes with rich and sweet notes. The main thing that I think is giving the most freshness that this fragrance has is gonna be the overflow of tobacco flower, which if you know the scent of tobacco flower is kind of a fresh and somewhat sweet but very soapy flower. It's a very dominant smell, if you will. So it is a smell that you definitely wanna try out first, because if you don't like it, fragrances that tend to have a lot of it, it does kind of take over. So you do have to like it. That being said, also you got a coffee accord in here. It's very ambery in nature. It does have a good amount of sweetness, but also has some freshness. Might even be more of a lemony freshness in here. I don't remember what the exact notes are, but the fragrance is fresh and sweet and ambery, and perfect for a video like this, as well as for the early fall season, if not the fall season in general. Once again, from Xerjoff, this is Uden Overdose. All right, next one, it's coming from Acqua di Parma. This is Quercia. Acqua di Parma, Quercia. All right, so this fragrance, the namesake, literally translates to oak. So that oaky woodiness, or at least the representation of it that this fragrance is trying to give, certainly would place it onto an autumn list, but there's plenty of freshness with this fragrance. You've got very fresh and warm cardamom in this scent, and you've got that kind of zingy, tangy, lemony freshness, lemony citrus notes that is synonymous with quite a few Acqua di Parma fragrances. So this one does make a play on woodiness and freshness at the same time. Does have a good amount of sweetness too. It's not a sweet fragrance overall, but it's not trying to be like just overly smoky, overly barky in terms of the woody nature to it. So I think they probably threw some tonka bean or some vanilla. Actually, I think the listed note is actually some type of vanilla in this scent to add a sweet element as well. This scent here, definitely perfect for a video like this. Definitely has the fresh element as well as the woody and sweet elements that we like to place with a lot of autumn centric fragrances. So great one here. Check this one out if you haven't. I think this one should get a little bit more praise from the house, but of course that's just my opinion. Once again, from Acqua di Parma, this is Quercia. All right, next one is coming from Givenchy. This is going to be Gentleman Eau de Parfum Boisee. Givenchy Gentleman Boisee for short. And this one here is a part of that original Gentleman line that really focused a lot more on the iris, but this was really the first one, in my opinion, to break away from the overload of iris and actually make the fragrance a lot more woody in nature. But it does have a very fresh, spicy element. Matter of fact, it's a little bit similar, not in smell, but in style of how Quercia is. It just has this kind of fresh pop to the woody nature of the scent overall. Now you still got the iris in there, but it is definitely pushed way in the background compared to the other fragrances from the Gentleman line, kind of before the, Society line. But even though Society is a little bit of a breakaway from how they used the iris originally, you still can definitely pick up the iris in those Society fragrances. I'm not really a big fan of those. I think they're kind of redundant, but this one here is the Gentleman fragrance that has the iris DNA, but really makes it more about the woods and the fresh spices in this one. Great for the early fall, in my opinion. So once again, from Givenchy. This is going to be Gentleman Eau de Parfum Boisee. All right, moving on. Next one is coming from the house of Guerlain, and this is L'Homme Ideal, just the original EDT. Guerlain L'Homme Ideal with my big jumbo bottle. So this one here, you guys know the Ideal DNA, I'm pretty sure, because that fragrance is immensely popular. And this one here is, in my opinion, at least out of the ones I've smelled, other than like the Cool or whatever the new one is that kind of took the place of Cool or whatever, like the fresher version of this one is the freshest one that I've gotten my nose on. Now it still has that kind of fruity aspect, the rich woody aspect, but it definitely has a freshness to it. Also that almond playing in there, that kind of powdery, nutty note that, you know, is synonymous with a lot of these Guerlain L'Homme Ideal fragrances. But this one, I like the freshness of this one. It even is kind of a similar play to the fragrances I just talked about, where it has the woody aspect to it, but also a freshness to counter it, to where it's not too rich, if you will. And I think this fragrance does that very, very well. And I would say if I were gonna place L'Homme Ideal EDT anywhere on that, you know, seasonality spectrum, this one is a good one, especially for the early fall season, if not just the transitional season overall. So once again, from Guerlain, this is L'Homme Ideal Eau de Toilette. Moving on, next one, coming from Louis Vuitton, and this is LV Lovers. Louis Vuitton Lovers. So with this one, in my opinion, you can absolutely wear this all year round. No problem there. But if I were going to place it in a seasonality box, it's this time of year right now. Early fall, early autumn, whatever you want to call it. This is where this fragrance shines. So it has the woody aspect with the cedar sandalwood combination that is, you know, a little bit synonymous with Santal 33 from Le Labo, just, you know, a little bit different. I still think there's a little bit of a muskiness to this scent to soften it even a little bit more, but you've got the fresh, bitter, green characteristic with this scent that gives it, the fresh aspect, but that woodiness is what kind of gives it the autumn fragrance characteristic, in my opinion. You know, galbanum also in this one, giving that kind of bitter green aspect. And then you've got some bergamot and a little bit of a ginger-like spice to add to the freshness of this scent, thus giving it the versatility that it absolutely deserves. So once again, from Louis Vuitton, this is LV Lovers. All right, the next one's gonna be coming from Mansera. This is gonna be Hindu Kush. Mansera Hindu Kush. So with this one here, it is obviously meant to be a scent that kind of plays on the cannabis note. And I would say it's lightly represented in this fragrance. I've definitely smelled some other ones that I think give you more of the cannabis, if you will, but it's definitely in here. The aspect of it is in here at least. And this one does have green facets to it, fresh green facets, fresh green spices. I think there's some black currant in here as well, giving a tartness, which that tartness does come across fresh. It is a little bit smoky. It's kind of a dry woodiness, and it does have some sweetness as well. So this is a really good transition fragrance because it kind of plays on both the seasons, if you will, with the freshness and the woodiness and the smokiness that this fragrance has. But powerful scent in terms of how it behaves, but from a smell standpoint, it is overall fresh and slightly woody, slightly smoky. So that's why I think it is a really good fragrance for this video subject matter, and a great one to wear. Honestly, you know, when I first got this scent, I didn't really know what to do with it. Now I think you can honestly wear this year round, but it does kind of fall the best, in my opinion, into this time of year, early autumn. So once again, from Mansera, this is Hindu Kush. All right, final fragrance for this video is going to be from Maison Francis Kurkdjian, and that's going to be Amyris Homme Extrait. Maison Francis Kurkdjian Amyris Homme Extrait de Parfum. So with this one here, most kind of put the Amyris DNA, at least the Eau de Toilette version, or is it the Eau de Toilette or EDP? Somebody let me know, because I actually don't know. Into more of a summertime category. This one here still definitely works as a summertime fragrance, but it is incredibly sweet, so that allows it to really work in this time of year as well, early fall, or even really full-on fall, if you want a fresh fragrance with those characteristics. So yes, it's fresh. It is kind of spicy as well, because it has a lot of Ceylon cinnamon, which is a cinnamon profile that is less warm. In my opinion, it's a lot fresher overall. And of course, Uses a note of Amyris, which kind of has somewhat of a balsamic, fruity, woody kind of feel. You kind of really get that when the fragrance really dries down and some of that cinnamon starts to back off a little bit, but it does have sweet notes like tonka bean, a little bit of an ambery nature to it as well. But that freshness never quite leaves this scent. So this is a really good one for this time of year as well as the summer months, in my opinion, because the freshness never leaves. So once again, from Mason Francis Kirkjohn, this is Amyris Homme Extrait de Parfum. Okay guys, that is gonna do it for this video. Let me know down in the comments below if you are a fan of wearing some fresher fragrances as the seasons start to change, and let me know what some of your favorites are down in the comments below. I would love to see what you guys have to say. Thanks again for watching all the way into the end. I really do appreciate you guys. Please remember to be well and smell well, and I'll see you in the next episode of The Fragrance Well. Have a good one.